Hi everyone, it's Becky here from Ivy's Corner and I'm back again to draw you another little mini mono tangle. I've got my 2" by 2" square tile here, my Micron PN, my Zentangle pencil and my tortillon also. The tangle that we're going to be drawing today is a Zentangle HQ tangle called Auraknot. Now I know some people struggle with this one, but I thought I would just break it down and run through it and ways that I like to draw it, so hopefully that will be helpful. So Auraknot is essentially going to be a tangle made up of auras, unsurprisingly. And the kind of standard step out of this tangle begins with creating a sort of a star shape. And it doesn't have to be a perfect star shape. It's just kind of a collection of sort of small triangular shapes that kind of stitch together to make a star. So let's begin. I've got my pen straight away here. And I'm going to go in and start drawing this kind of it's going to be a slightly wonky kind of multi sort of pointed shape. I'm not worried about it really being perfectly kind of dimensioned for being a star. I mean, it looks kind of reasonably like that, but essentially you can have as many different points as you want to your Auraknot. But we begin, I've also kind of curved these lines actually, so that's worth noting. But again, that's not important necessarily. What we're going to do to start off with is we're going to kind of choose one line, but create it as one line. So can you see here, I've got one line here and then another line here. I'm going to create that as one line. So I'm going to join it up together by crossing this section here. So I'm just going to bring my line through to join up here. So I've now got this one straight line. That is our first line, and I'm going to aura that line. So we're going to create our first aura of our Auraknot by just auraing along that line there. And where I've finished now, I'm thinking about where I've started. So where I've started down on this point here. And actually, if you want to, you can always just pop a little pencil mark to remind yourself where you began. I'm going to turn my tile and I'm going to move to the next point along to begin the next aura. So I started here and I'm going to move it around to this next point here. So I'm going to aura along here, but I'm going to join this line here, hollowboring underneath this aura to this point first. So I'm going to create my first sort of straight line as we did before, and now I'm going to aura that line. I'm doing fairly narrow auras, but I'm going to try and keep them all the same. So now I've worked on this, so I've gone from this one to this one. I'm now going to do this next one here. And obviously this is going to start by disappearing underneath this first aura. But I'm going to initially join up here like we did with the other two. And then do my next aura. So basically starting at each kind of next point along around the star. This one obviously all the way around the first time we're going to be joining up these lines on these points of the stars. So I'm going to do this one here, obviously hollowboring underneath any auras that I've already placed. And then last up, we're going to do this line here. So I'm going to start by joining this line and then complete my aura. So all of those kind of initial bits where you're completing those lines, that won't happen the next time we go around the star because it's just kind of starting us off. So I'm back now where I began with my little pencil mark to remind me here. So I'm going to come back to this line and I'm going to aura it again. So just the same way, hollowboring underneath until we get to the end. So I was now moving to the next point along round my star. Auraing that line. And then to the next point of the star. And you'll see how things start to interweave and start to kind of stack almost. I'm just turning my tile and moving around the star each time. So going in the same direction, always in the same direction, just to kind of remind me where I'm at. I'm back to the beginning again here, so I'll come back here for another line. And actually, eventually you might find that some of your aura lines don't quite match up or whatever, but it doesn't matter. Like it's not going to be a problem. All of these lines kind of look wonderful as they are kind of growing together. So if they're not perfectly in line, it really doesn't matter. Turning my tile each time and placing down my aura. So this one here, you see I've now basically run out of space in that little section. And I'm going to start, that's going to start happening for a lot of these lines now, I think. So this is back to that one again, and it's beginning here, but I can't really see the beginning of that aura, so I'm going to just holyball underneath and imagine where it would be, like so. And now I'm back to the beginning. Can fit another little one in there, but again, that's going to be the end of the space in there that's being filled. And now at this point, I really am filling all of these small little sections to the point where they can't be added with auras any longer, and that's fine. I'm going to just finish that central section, so just coming around one side at a time and just filling up that final little bit of space with these lovely auras until I can fit no more in. And I think we are now at that point. There we go. So there is our basic Auraknot. This is a really fun one to shade. I've just popped my pen down. I'm picking up my pencil. I'm going to put plenty of graphite in the centre there. And I'm going to follow it up along these sections here. So if you've watched my video about the tweed, I talked a little bit about how if you want to, you can kind of be more specific with your shading and kind of touch it where things disappear underneath each other, like so, and sort of zigzag down these intersecting lines. But actually, once you've blurred this section with the tortillon, I find that you may as well have just done this. So feel free to be more kind of deliberate with your shading, but you can also just go down there like that. And I'm going to do the same up here in these central sections of the points of the star. And the other thing that I like to do with this tangle is just to add some shade into kind of these top aura lines. So I'm going to start to just add a touch where they disappear underneath each other on these intersecting points, like so. And also actually all along, I think the outside here of each of them, because I think that's just going to lift them away from these sections which disappear beneath. Like so. And then I'm going to grab my tortillon and just go through and blend the shade. So you can kind of see what I mean about these sections. Not, they don't really need to have the specific intersection shading, if that makes sense. I've just kind of gone up that line and it works just as well. So just softening all the graphite that I've placed down. I'm not bringing, because obviously there's a lot going on here, I'm not bringing the graphite out very much to blend it with a lot of gradation of the shadow. I'm pretty much keeping it, I'm just sort of taking the hardness away from the lines that I've placed. So I don't think you necessarily need to worry about blending the shade very far and taking the graphite far away from where it's been placed. It's just a case of softening the harsh lines that have been placed down. But as ever, it's important to keep some kind of highlight for sure. And there you go. That is Auraknot. It's amazing how the addition of the graphite there really brings it to life, I think. Really fun tangle, one to explore, have a play with, maybe try with different shapes and things more than just these sort of stars or 5-pointed stars. And yeah, just enjoy those auras. So I hope you found this useful. Please do like and subscribe, and you can also check out my website www.ivies-corner.com, where I have lots of information, blogs, some free lessons and some courses and other things as well for you. So check those out, and I will see you next time.